Hey, it's Steve Monz from Big 1077 and the Rock Shop. I am bringing the heat today on DelmarvaLife with my 4-meat award-winning chili. You ready for some? It's showtime.
We trained him on our cameras how to communicate with the control room and read our teleprompter, but today he's dishing out his own delicious lesson on how to make Steve-O Bandito's award-winning 4-meat chili.
Yes.
Wait, time out. Award-winning?
Award-winning. Now, a lot of people claim to have award-winning chili, but I legitimately have trophies.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. For many years, the Milford Senior Center had a chili cook-off.
Okay.
Now, I know what you're thinking, Steve, you beat up on the elderly and outcooked them, but that's not really how it went down. It was...
I didn't think that until you said it.
Well, that's what my mom always said.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you beat a bunch of 95-year-old chefs. But no, it was celebrities cooking, and then we had real restaurants from Milford.
Okay.
And so the first year, I won in the amateur division, which I was. And then the second year, I actually beat the restaurants in Milford.
No way!
So that's why I
well,
really kind of
okay.
carry the torch
I would
of my
brag about that if I
award-winning
was you
chili.
too.
And
So
that is why we have Big 1077 Steve Monz here in the DelmarvaLife kitchen. So you're going to show us how to do it.
we're going to try anyway. Everybody likes meat, I guess?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you work a little bit today, and I
way.
know that I want to be careful with the fingers. We've had some issues in the past. You're going to dice our peppers, which are actually going to be handy for the presentation at the end.
Okay, okay.
So you can work on those.
All right.
And then we're going to get started. One of the first things we put in is a little bit of garlic.
Okay.
Which garlic is good on everything.
And you got this thing hot.
Yes.
Hot, hot.
Heat is the key.
Okay.
Heat is the key.
First meat that we have is bacon. Another one that everybody loves, right?
Bacon.
Bacon. Dump
Okay.
that in there.
Go wrong with
yeah.
bacon.
And I'm going to give you the task
How
of
much
stirring.
bacon would you call that?
That right there is a half a pack of bacon.
Half a pack.
And what you do is, basically everything is in proportion. It's a little bit scaled down here
Yeah, okay.
in the kitchen today. But basically I do a pound of each meat. If you
Oh,
will.
okay, yeah, yeah.
So if you're cooking for a lot of people. Now as the bacon's going, our second meat is ground pork.
Ground pork.
Oh, okay.
This always goes in second because pork is kind of, as you can see, is a little bit fattier.
Right.
So you want to have a little bit more time to kind of melt that down and have that all mix in. So
Okay, okay.
you've obviously done this before.
I haven't.
He just knows how to stir the pot, let me tell you.
Well, no getting around that one, I guess.
So our third meat now would be hamburger meat, which is your regular staple. Everybody likes hamburger meat. You expect that in chili. So
Right,
this
right.
is kind of like the foundation. We'll wait for that to get a little bit more done. We need more heat in there. Are you good?
So how did you come up with this recipe? Where did this come from? Did you make this up?
Well, I sort of improvised on it. I mean, everybody made a regular hamburger chili, and I thought, well, if I'm going to stand out in a competition, I've got to do something different.
Yeah.
So there were people who had a white chili, or they had a chicken chili, or they had a seafood chili, and I thought, well, let's just keep adding meat until it
Yeah.
becomes absurd, and that's kind of what we did. So,
You have an absurd
And
chili.
you have awards to show for it.
right.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll add the hamburger in there to that.
Okay.
That's our third meat.
Third meat.
And the thing about the hamburger and the pork, if you make a good meatloaf, those are two that you usually use for
Right.
meatloaf. So it's really not off the beaten path as far as adding those meats together. So as we work those together, the next meat to me is the one that kind of puts the cherry on top. You take a nice London broil
Ooh.
and dice it up. Normally you would have like a London broil sliced where you put it on the grill.
Right.
So I've taken the liberty of pre-grilling this a little bit. I didn't want to go all the way.
Oh, good. Okay. All
So
right.
it's partly grilled, and then we'll add that in, and it'll slowly cook with the rest of the seasonings as we get to that stage of it as well.
When you say slowly,
Well, now ideally, with something like this, we're going to cook it all up, cook all the meats up, and put everything in, and I'd let it go for like 2 hours or so on
Okay.
low heat. As I have our finished product is more in a crock pot. That's usually how I'll do it. I'll
Okay.
cook it on the stove,
Right.
and then I'll put it into the crock pot, and that's where it simmers, and it just fills the house up with that smell of a Mexican restaurant.
yeah, that's what Eric Schreiber did when he first came in. Woo, it smells good.
This is great. I don't even have to do anything.
I
You guys are doing all the
know.
work for me.
That's
You have to do all the talking.
That's the most
it.
difficult part. You got to watch us try to do what you do normally. All right, so we ready for the
Yes, you can grab that if you want. That is our fourth meat. You can see I cubed those up
dumper right?
and I grilled those a little bit so that
Okay.
the outside got a little bit of a flavor
there.
to it.
Oh, those look delicious.
do.
And so now our 4 meats are in.
Man,
It's a meat lover's dream. in
No
there, really,
kidding.
what it is.
never had anything like this.
So the next step is where we actually add our seasonings. Because at this point, it's generic. Everybody can kind of do this, and now it's like, what do we do to give it the flavor?
Okay.
So there's a couple of unique things that I like to do in my chili that I think kind of make it stand out. A lot of people will tell you that you've got to dice your own tomatoes, dice your own onions, and throw that all in there. Life is short. I like to speed up the process a little bit, right?
Yeah, okay.
So what I've decided to do, and everyone should feel welcome to do this, take simple salsa. Your favorite salsa that you happen to use for your chips at home.
Yeah.
Take about a cup and a half of that, dump it right in there, pour it right into the beet.
Just dump it right in?
Absolutely.
No preparation necessary because you already prepared, other than me spilling it all.
No,
over the
you're ready to
counter.
go. Dump it right in there. That gives you that tomato paste background in it. A lot of people add tomato paste or diced tomatoes, but I found that it's a shortcut, really.
Yeah.
Because you got other things to do.
Right. Like I said, time is money. So as we stir that up, the next secret ingredient that I like to go with is beer, simple beer.
Beer?
A light beer.
Why?
Well, as you know, with a lot of great recipes, a lot of chefs will use wine or they'll use beer, and the alcohol burns off, but it leaves a flavor behind. It leaves a little bit of an essence that goes in with the meat really well. So as we add in the beer, it's usually only about a cup or two, and I brought some in here.
Yeah.
The other good thing about cooking with beer is that if you don't use all of it, you really have to finish it because you can't.
You
put
can't
a top
leave it
on
out there. You
Isn't
can't
it
put
like
the top back on tonight.
90-10? 90% goes in, 10%
Goes
goes
in?
in.
There we
You
go.
decide which goes where.
And so that adds a little bit more of the fluid to it as well, because
Right.
you don't want it to be too thick and too chunky.
Okay, so we haven't added any spice to this at all yet.
We are up to that step.
Oh, so is this a hot chili? Is this a mild chili? What?
Well, the way that I always like to make chili is I always find that you can always add heat, but you can never take it out.
Exactly.
So if you make it too hot, and my wife can't stand hot chili,
Really?
she will scream.
Yeah.
And so I have to make it very mild, which this will be. It's not completely without any kind of a heat to it.
Right.
But we will add some heat later on, which I will tell you about when we come to the presentation stage.
Oh, okay.
Now-
Well, seems like a great spot to just kind of.
So we're to the point of breaking a 2-hour break in the TV magic of a couple
We
of
can
minutes.
do that, sure.
Isn't that amazing?
All right, stick around. We're going to finish this up with a big 1077 Steve Monz. In just a few moments, we'll be right back.
Big 1077's star stirrer, Steve Monz. We had to get the professional stirrer on the set and get this done right.
Award-winning chili
Award-winning
chef.
4-meat chili chef.
That is amazing.
The smell?
Just,
Oh.
you know, award-winning.
Right.
Yeah.
I have trophies. They're somewhere in a box. I don't think I'm not allowed to display them,
no,
really.
you need to bring those in, put them up
probably
on your
should.
desk.
I would have had them right here. Okay, so while we were during the break, that cooked up a little bit. We're getting ready to put the spices in.
Yes. Now, the spice is another shortcut.
Another shortcut.
Well, yes. I could sit here and I could tell you that this is my secret recipe that
Right.
combines all the
Yeah,
spices.
right.
But I've found over the years that the slightest miscalculation with your spices can ruin a chili.
Okay.
So in my mind, I don't think there's any rule that says you can't use something out of a packet.
Okay.
I know, right? It seems sacrilege, doesn't it? But again, life is short.
Yeah.
Move forward.
Things to do.
So what
So-
packet?
This is, I like to go with McCormick.
Okay.
They make a really good spice. And this is actually a combination of a mild and a spicy chili.
So about
mix.
halfway
Okay.
in.
Right.
About halfway in. Okay.
Right.
All right.
So we put that in there. That actually will add your chili flavor to it.
Okay.
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 And then the secret ingredient, I like to think
It
it
won't
is.
be a secret for long.
And
You're
the
right.
secret is out. Barbecue sauce.
There
Just
you go.
a little bit to give it that smoky flavor.
There you go.
That's
All
a
right.
great
Dump that in there,
idea.
but not a lot because it can be overpowering, and then it's kind of like you've got something more of a Texas dish. Then I mean, maybe you like that. but-
So at one point, well, actually, when we came into the studio, Lisa said, "Well, you know, there's a debate about whether or not real chili has beans," and I said, "There's no debate.
So you're in my camp.
No beans.
No beans.
No beans. Okay.
Although, wouldn't it be the history of chili to have chili beans in them?
Well, it depends on whether or not you're a bean.
I think it's whether you want beans in your chili or not.
Okay.
You know?
To each
Why
his
not?
own.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll go with that.
And that's it?
And that is it. That is the finished product.
That's a
However,
good-looking chili.
presentation to me is what it's all about.
Okay, so this is supposed to cook for a couple hours. Let it marinate, let the flavors marriage, all that thing, right?
You want to let that simmer. Now this
And that's
actually,
what you have done.
I have done that with this over here for you. Now,
Okay.
again, this is all what you like as far as your preference goes. If you want cheddar cheese, you
Right.
put cheddar cheese on top.
Yeah,
We
buddy.
can put sour cream.
Uh-huh.
And then, again, if you like heat, I've got a couple of different kinds. So this is a very mild kind of a sauce that you'll find in just about any Mexican restaurant.
Okay.
This one, however, will make your lips numb.
Oh,
This is
do not put that in mine.
my good friend Leon hooked me up with this, and this is fire. This is, if you like to heat.
Only because we have a little bit of the show left to do. I'm not gonna. Otherwise, I would love to take that challenge.
What about the peppers?
Oh, and then those are a
peppers.
garnish on top. So
Yeah.
let's put in a little bit of cheese here. Don't mind my fingers,
Oh.
if you don't mind.
We're family.
Okay, you do that. A little bit of sour cream. Dollop that on top. And then I like to
Oh,
garnish
yeah,
with
love-
a little
love chips.
chip.
Of course, I see.
And then you sprinkle these
I'm going to
on.
sprinkle these on. I'm right-handed, so I had to
Okay,
switch.
there we go.
There we go.
And there
Boom.
is your finished product.
There's my finished product.
that,
Jimmy,
okay.
you going to make yours?
I'm going to follow along with the same process there because it all looks so good. Little cheese,
Little cheese.
little
I
whipped
tend to
cream,
go heavy
sour
on the
cream.
cheese. but
Yeah,
that's
me
just
too. And I would take all of
Yeah,
those chips
I
and
could-
crunch them up inside.
Inside?
Inside the bowl.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. All right. I'm not as much of a chip guy, but I'm a cheese guy.
Okay.
And then, of course, the.
There you go.
Fabulous job dicing
I
those,
tell you
by the
what,
way.
you did
you.
some dicing here.
I didn't cut any fingers.
We always take that as a brag point.
Yeah. All right. So
Now I feel bad because you didn't get any.
Oh, that's all right. As cooking the past couple of days as I've been doing these, I always tend to sample as I go, and so I'm kind of over chilied at this point. But
that
the
is
verdict is
delicious.
It's delicious. I like the big chunks of steak. Well, relatively big, I guess. They were small chunks.
You don't need beans in this chili.
no.
If we had an award, Steve, we'd give you another.
Well, it really wasn't a competition today. Oh, here it is. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
This is excellent. Thank you.
You're
Best
welcome.
chili ever.
so much.
You actually can't keep that though. It has
No,
to stay
it's got to go back there.
All right, when can we hear you on Big 107.7?
Every weekday morning from 6 until 10 on the radio. We don't cook there, but we do talk about food a lot, so it's part of life.
And I
so.
love your themes. You have themes every day.
Yes, every morning at 7 we do the Big 3, where I give out a theme and people have to find songs that match whatever theme that is. So
Love it. Love it.
Like that, yeah.
it's fun. It's creative.
Love having you in the DelmarvaLife kitchen. Award-winning chili maker that you are.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to help out anytime. We all like to eat, and it's always good to eat good food.
You know you're coming back now.
Uh-oh.
Absolutely.
Yeah, buddy.
What are you doing tomorrow? No.